Welcome to Gold Derby. I am Senior Editor Marcus James Dixon, and we are here with Jodi Mancuso, Head Hair Designer on Saturday Night Live, and Louie Zakarian, Makeup Department Head on SNL. My first question for both of you is, what keeps you coming back to Studio 8H year after year? Is this one of the best jobs in the world? Jodi, let's start with you.
Absolutely. Definitely, because we're not there for the hours, that's for sure. It's just creatively the most fulfilling, and the family there at SNL is really amazing. Everybody's really supportive of each other, each of the departments, and week after week, you feel like you've really accomplished something. So, and obviously I love Louie, so if I get to create with him, it's a slam dunk. So definitely been there a long time and I love it. I really do.
And Louie, how about you?
After 28 years, it's a fun place to work. I can't imagine doing anything else. We get to, on a week-to-week basis, we get to recreate some pretty amazing makeup looks, get to create some of our own unique makeup and hair looks. It's kind of amazing. And, Jodi and I work so well together. It's just like we just play off each other and have a good time. It's kind of awesome.
Pretty great, yeah.
And for both of you, what would you say was one of your biggest challenges when you look back at season 48, which wrapped up in April? Let's start with Louie. What can you think of, maybe one sketch or one moment that made you? Yeah.
There's quite a few. Sarah's kind of put me through a lot of the paces, trying to do that whole roller coaster look with her where her mouth is stuck open and
yes,
but it's not really stuck open, and try and figure out how to make that happen. That's been one of that was a tricky one, trying to figure out, and having to do that on the host as well in the limited time we have. And the other one would be the Woody Harrelson doing the whale makeup on him, having to make him in 5 minutes gain a couple of 100 pounds and be able to go out there and still perform and do the sketch and be able to get it off in 2 minutes for the next sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Jodi, what about from the hair perspective? Any big challenges this season?
I think it goes in hand for Louie and I, because when it comes to the host, if there's any prosthetic that has to be applied, or bald cap or anything that's difficult in the amount of time that we have, especially the host, because obviously they're in every single sketch. So you don't really have a choice to have a sketch time in between to do the application. So anything that involves that with the host, so if you go back to the season, there's probably many, it becomes really difficult because you have to get it on and you have to get it off, and I have to give makeup time as well. And if that goes any wrong, then we all, even with wardrobe, if it's an elaborate wardrobe, we all lose seconds. So I don't think it's any one thing. It's a challenge many weeks.
Like, for example, like that whale sketch, what I was talking about, that if once we got the makeup on, the wig has to go on, and while he's getting that big fat suit on, and we're all working in such it will have to, in 5 minutes for that whole makeup, hair, and wardrobe look to happen, which is kind of crazy to put down in that fast. And week after week, they constantly come to Jodi and I, well, can you guys do it any faster? I'm like, no, you realize we're doing this super fast.
You're all creating magic on a weekly basis on this show. It's from a viewer's perspective. I can tell how much work goes into each and every sketch, and you must both be so proud of yourselves.
When you're in it, you're just doing it. I don't think you're even thinking about it. And then sometimes I'll go back and watch and realize, like, wow, like, how did that even happen? And, and I have a great team as well. And you just sketch after sketch, you're just like, or week after week, you do eventually amaze yourself. But you're running on pure adrenaline. So I feel like you're just in it. You're not even thinking about, you just got to get it on air.
I'm curious, what does a typical week look like when the show is on a Saturday night? What time do you all start prepping and start working with the actors? Do you have like a certain schedule where we do this on Monday, this on Tuesday?
There's a very set schedule. Like on Tuesdays when the host comes in for me, they come in for a head scan. For Jodi, they go in and do a wig bubble so they can start building patterns to build the wigs on. And then Wednesday, we have the table read where we read through 40 some odd sketches, roughly 40 sketches. And then at night, about 10, 11 o'clock, they'll pick the 14 or 15 sketches that we're going to produce for the show. And then the roller coaster starts. You have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but you also you have Thursday to get ready for the Friday P-tapes, and then Friday to get ready for the Saturday live show. So, and then you got the live show.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about James Austin Johnson's version of Donald Trump. First of all, I think he's the best Trump you've ever had by far. What are some of the big challenges in making up the actor to become the politician? Because they don't really look alike, these two. Jodi, do you want to start with this?
Well, I mean, it's probably harder for Louie because, just he has to get the shape and everything and the coloring. But for me, the wig is always a challenge, no matter who it is. It is not easy, and Mr. Michaels wants it to be right. So, and lighting has a lot to do with it. You have to remember we're a live show, so it's not like we have a long time for lighting. So if there's a certain background, it will reflect coloring and lighting. And, my whole thing is just to get somebody to have that shape that Trump has. It's very square and short. And that becomes a challenge in the styling, because I have to keep a particular style, but I also have to cheat it to get the head shape. So it's never easy. Every week when I hear them say Trump, is going to be in the sketch, James is going to play it, I'm always like, oh, here we go.
And as far as his makeup goes, I mean, I think I've redone that makeup 3 or 4 times on him already to try and get it to look better each time. And we just trying to get James to look like Trump is a daunting feat on it known to itself. They two look nothing alike. And he gets a full wraparound cheek appliance with eye bags, a lot of paint. It's a makeup that would normally take about 2.5 to 3 hours that we end up putting on in like 15 to 20 minutes tops. I just recently did a brand new version of it that we were gonna hopefully use in the last 3 shows of the season, but we ended up getting shut down. So we'll have to wait till the fall to try this new look. I think the new look, we did a test of it and it looked so much better. I think it's going to look even better next time, but let's see what happens with Trump now.
Yeah. Do you ever, when you're sitting at home watching all this news pour in, do you, like, let's say it's the summer, do you find yourself wishing like, oh, I wish we were, going live on Saturday because we have so many fun ideas we could use?
Oh yeah. I mean,
100%.
just watching the news cycle this past couple of weeks, I'm like, oh man, there's so much we could have been doing.
True. Yes, for sure. Yes, there's a lot of comedy out there, I got to tell you.
Writing it for.
Bowen Yang appeared on Weekend Update as Krampus this year, and his horn kept falling off of his head. It was a hilarious moment for us watching at home. But what goes through your minds backstage when something goes wrong on live television?
Oh yeah, what happened was just before he went out, he bumped the horn and knocked it off. So we shoved it back on real quick just before the sketch started and sat there with my fingers crossed, hoping that it wouldn't fall. And just, it's live TV, and hope that the cast members great to be able to play with it. And Bowen, of course, he played with the whole horn thing and used it as part of the sketch. So it works, but it's a cringing. Your stomach just gets all tied up in knots every time something like this. Luckily, it's few and far between that happens, but it's live TV, and it is what it is.
That's part of the reason we love watching it at home, is for reasons like that, or for the Lisa from Temecula sketch where everyone starts laughing and then
Yeah.
it goes completely viral. Can you talk about her look, Ego's look in Lisa from Temecula? She's got the it's like an orangish hairstyle, right?
Yeah, she actually had a reference picture of something that she was thinking, and we just, we work closely with the cast or the writers and to help them get the look that they want. And then, then I go, a lot of times I'll go to, our costume designer, Tom, and I'll, try to figure out what could work best as well. And then, always go over it with the cast. And I just basically did what she wanted, and it all worked out. They do have a lot of sometimes reference pictures, and you kind of marry them, or you change it, or you suggest that it may not work well, because sometimes you have to remember, there's so many sketches and pre-tapes that are happening, and not all the cast members know what the references are in those sketches. So for Louie and I and costumes, we try to make everybody have their own original look and not try to mimic something twice in a show. So a lot goes into it, on how we get the looks that we do. But she definitely had that hair idea for herself.
Speaking of pre-tapes, one of the most funny sketches of the year was A Christmas Carol with Steve Martin and Martin Short. And it starts out sweet enough, and then they start throwing the coins down off the balcony, and there is blood everywhere. What is that like, Louie, when you're working on the set with everyone covered in blood?
There's a lot of like, luckily we knew they were all going to get bloody, so they all had like a nice coat of derma shield just so that it doesn't stain their skins. But there was so much blood on that one, and then they kept throwing, oh, we're gonna have one coin in Sarah's eye, two coins in Sarah's eyes, making little prosthetic pieces that can go on really fast and just look like those coins are shoved in her eye. It gets crazy, and trying to get, there's no, okay, let's clean them up and do it again. They're bloody. You're going on to the next thing now.
And Jodi, did you have anything to add about that one?
I mean, if we have time and we can, we'll do doubles. And in that particular case, we didn't have enough time. We also had to get, that is being filmed in a different location. So, we have to get the cast back to our studio also to rehearse, because we're doing blocking. It's pretty crazy. So sometimes we will do our best. And, like Louie was telling you, we have only Thursday to prepare for those 3 pre-tapes that are happening on Friday, not in our 30 Rock studio location. And there's a lot of doubles and stuff. So it becomes a real big challenge, and it's all kind of out of your hands when, you're like, this is it. This is all we have, But it was probably one of my favorite ones as well, that I did tell Marty and Steve that this should be a movie.
It was super fun, and it was a period too, so like trying to do all that period work, all the sideburns and wigs, all the hair has to be built. Jodi has to get those wigs built. We had to build the prosthetics, and got 24 hours basically to put it all together and have it on camera the next morning. So it's
intense.
Well, thank you guys both for chatting with us today. I know the Emmy voting has started. I see some trophies behind you. I love seeing those displayed.
Thank you.
You both have had such great luck at the Emmy Awards, and our fingers are crossed that it continues for you this year.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you
we
so much.
appreciate it.